Ladies and gentlemen, big hairy news.
Hey, kia ora koutou whānau. Welcome back to another episode of Big Hairy News. As I heard my phone just chirp, so I better turn that off.
Oh yeah, that's a good
There you
reminder because we're professional.
We are.
Yep.
We're super pros,
Yeah.
man.
Also, don't. No, you've got my full attention now.
Hey, whānau. How's everyone doing? Did you all have a nice day off yesterday? I had a really nice day off yesterday. Do you know what I did, Chewy? I watched 4 episodes of Yellowstone in one day, and it was glorious. Lots of fun.
Sounds amazing. Do you know what I did as a worker?
Worked.
On the workers holiday. I worked it because any holiday can be a sales event.
Yeah. Because bloody Black Friday and stuff's become a part of New Zealand's thing now, eh? Americans have exported, and now we have Halloween and Black Friday. Just in the last 10 years, it's all sort of popped off.
Yeah, it is so dumb.
Yeah.
It is so unnecessary. For people that don't know, the whole idea with Black Friday in the States is it's after the big Thanksgiving sort of thing. And they don't have Boxing Day. They've never had Boxing Day. So that was their big, everything must go, prices slash deal. And of course, we've all seen the footage. It's fucking bananas. And then someone's gone, oh, there's so much free advertising about Black Friday. We'll try and bring it in New Zealand. And it's just so dumb because now people expect American style big discounting before Christmas, and then they expect New Zealand style big discounting on Boxing Day. And it's just, no, you just end up with kind of middling deals on both days, but everybody kind of goes a little bit mental. But everybody that didn't want to do it has to participate now because it's got so much critical mass.
Yeah.
And that's my rant.
I have received some information that I'm told is a leak from the Justice Ministry.
Oh.
Now, I received this piece of information about an hour ago, and the document is 24 pages long. So I have not had time to go through it all together. And to be honest, it's not the kind of information that I would understand altogether because it's all like lawyer lingo and stuff Tuesday, innit? So what I will say to you, what I'm saying to you is we might have a look at this document tomorrow night. If indeed I'm doing some research on it, because you see how it says the 6th of April? I'm like, is this something that no one's seen before? And of course there are other people, it's kind of come through people. So there are other people who want to release all the information from it to get kind of the scoop, and we're not going to step on their toes. But we might have a look at it tomorrow. But I do want to show you one thing, right? I want to show you one thing from this. And then we'll get on with the actual show. Lots of words. I have to scroll down to where I was up to because we want to get to the key messages. Because do you know, Chewy,
down.
How we've been told by, I don't know if David Seymour's said this, but certainly his advocates, and I'm thinking of Damien Grant, and people like that have said, the principles, the treaty principles, nobody knows what they are. They're nowhere. They don't mean anything. They've never been written down. Well, this document comes from Paul Goldsmith's office, and there's a couple of things it does say. So we're not going to do this tonight because I've only just started looking at it. A key message is there is already a degree of certainty around what the existing principles are and how they operate. So replacing them will need to be done carefully to avoid creating more uncertainty. So the government, we're not talking about the ACT Party, but the government says that there are existing principles and there is a certain degree of certainty to it, which is a different sounding message than what we're getting as to why we need to hold a referendum or legislation on the treaty's principle. If you notice number 5 there also says, this is the government saying this, there is a significant risk that the bill could generate division that undermines social cohesion and the Māori Crown relationship. That's what they're saying. I've marked a couple more. Number 14, right? Remember, we don't know what the treaty principles are. We don't have treaty principles. No one knows what they are. The government's document, point 14, says the existing treaty principles have been developed over 35 years of jurisprudence and by the actions of successive governments, so there is a degree of certainty about what they are and how they operate. And then it goes through some of the key principles and it mentions those names: partnership, protection, and redress. I think we also say participation, don't we, as the other one for that. And number 15, remember, this is we have to have this treaty's principle legislation because nobody knows what it's about and it means nothing. The principles are a significant part of our constitutional system and can be applied in several different ways. Now, as I'm saying, I have looked at this for half an hour whilst I was getting ready for the show. I haven't given it its due attention. I've already been in contact with a friend of the show who happens to be a former lawyer for the Waitangi Tribunal, and I'll ask that person if there's anything in this, and if they say yes, then we may bring this back tomorrow night, Chewy, and delve into it in more detail. Because to be honest with you, it looks because this may have been released already. This may be out there. I'm not saying it is, and people may have gone over it, but I still haven't seen or heard anywhere someone going, hey, you know how part of the government saying there's no such thing as principles, but we say there are? Well, there's another part of the government, as per this document, that says that they're into our legislative maneuvering. It's there. They've been there for a long time. So just a little bit of foresight for tomorrow. And like I said, I don't want to stomp on the people who are going to scoop this if it is indeed a scoop. So, you've got 24 hours, people. There you go. If there's anything there, and then we'll take it tomorrow night.
I mean, Pat, what even is 35 years of jurisprudence when measured against your average New Zealand Herald comment section lurker? Like that really just doesn't understand what's going on. Surely that needs more weight under the law, which is, I think, what ACT is going for.
Yeah, they want to help us. Well, ACT is trying to help every New Zealander. And whilst they're doing it, they're kind of reserving the respect required to half of the signatories to the treaty. That's what they're all about, I'm guessing. Let me say a huge thanks to Ainsley, to Chris Walker. Now, I'm not sure about this. It's either Solar Scream, SOLAR SCREAM, or it's Solus Cream, because the S could be Scream or it could be the Cream. I'm going to go with Solar Scream, but it could be Solus Cream. I'm not sure which way, but we'll go with Solar Scream. Keith, Trevette, Diced NZ, and Sarah, who have all become patrons in the last week. And also a big thanks to Erica Ehrlich, who decided to go from a $35 a month patronage to a $50 a month patronage. So went up one. So thank you so much. It's incredibly generous what you guys do. In fact, I haven't told you this, Joe, but I've been having a look around a few Patreon pages of other podcasts, and there are some much bigger podcasters than us based in America. Like, if you're talking about subscribers to YouTube, have 4 or 5 times the subscribers, who have like 400 patrons. And we've got like 330. So, it's amazing. And I felt a bit humbled when I saw that. So thank you if you're a part of it. If you like what we do and you want to be with us to break some more of those stories, then just head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News and you can get involved. The episode with Sam Cedar, we had that put up early so patrons could see it. And can I say, been one of the most successful live streams that we've ever done.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it wasn't a live stream. We played it as live. But what I'm saying is often what will happen is the whole episode, like you're watching now, that'll get a good number of views, but one of the clips will be the thing that goes ballistic. If you just look at the whole episodes, I think it's getting towards 5,000 views, which is, most of our episodes get kind of between 2 and 3. One or two where we will go over 3,000 views. That's just for the episodes. And then the little clips are the ones that get bigger and more sometimes. So yeah, both yourselves and probably some people in the US, I would think, enjoyed Sam from Friday night. So there you go. Speaking of Friday nights, haven't told you this yet either, Chewy. It's like we don't really catch up. This is where we do all our catching up. I think we might have a new Friday night show starting up this week.
Oh,
I think so.
Exciting.
Exciting. So. I'll say I think because I'm still sort of, we're still talking about it, but I think maybe so. One other thing that I haven't told you about, Joey, did you know that we have got ourselves a BHN correspondent in America right now?
Who's that? Oh,
Shane DePoe is over there. And here's a video that Shane sent me on about Friday.
Kia ora, guys. BHN represent here in New York City. Kia ora, Pat. Kia ora, Chewy. I look forward to having a kōrero with you later on this week. We are in downtown New York. What's the boy going to do on a Sunday morning? He's going to go to the famous Cat's Deli, have a pastrami sandwich, and then he's going to the Trump rally, Madison Square Garden. Ali versus Fraser will be nothing compared to Tipo versus the Trumpers.
So there you go. Shane apparently went off to the Trump rally, and he sent me one more little video as well. I'll play you this one. You got to watch carefully. It's just him driving to the Trump rally and a couple of billboards that are on the side of the road. So pay attention.
Kia ora, guys.
It's the same one, isn't it? There we go.
It is the same one.
Have a look. Pay attention to the billboards he's going past.
That's so subtle.
Here we go. Yeah, it is subtle. Americans are known for their subtlety.
No notes.
Yeah. So there you go. Been talking to Shane. He's in New York at the moment. He said he actually messaged me saying, I'm going over to watch the election. I don't know if that's, how he might have had something else and go, I'm going to see the election while I was here. What he said to me, he was going over to watch the election. Pretty jealous, actually, to be perfectly frank with you. So yeah, I've kind of semi-planned to catch up with Shane one day this week. It'll be a bit the same as Sam. Actually, Sam is based in New York as well, because obviously this time of night it's like 4 a.m. for them. So I'll record them during the day and we'll play it out one night. Yeah. So and tonight's show is going to be quite heavily focused on the Trump and what's happening with Trump at the moment and what's happened over the weekend. I was thinking, Chewy, there were some New Zealand stories around. Rents have gone down officially. So that downward pressure, you got to give credit at the moment. Hasn't gone down below what they were when National started, but in the last quarter, they're down compared to the previous quarter. So says Trade Me. It doesn't actually mean they're all down, but it means that some rents in some places that have been listed on Trade Me are less. But, we won't shy away from these things if we'll always mention what they are. And also there was I think it was a massive tangi in round Wellington today. Yeah, and I thought that might be a story on the news tonight, which it wasn't, because remember, 300, 400, 500 patched gang members. Aren't the police supposed to be walking in there and taking all their jackets off them? Isn't that supposed to be what's happening?
Hasn't happened yet, Pat.
Yeah.
It's early.
Hasn't happened yet. So we shall see.
I read that story as well, and there's definitely some nuggets that I pulled out of that are very amusing to contrast.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a busy old weekend, and of course, long weekend. It was actually really nice to have a day off, being frank. I realised how much work we've been doing and just some downtime. Sorry, Chewy, I know you didn't have a day off, but, for those of us who are valued workers for our bosses, we got a day off. What about you, Chew? Anything you got up to over the weekend? Anything exciting to tell us about?
No, not really. Just worked through all of it. I did. You know how people they go to AA or NA, they give up the drugs and give up the alcohol and all the addictive things.
Yes,
I might have backslid a little bit. Might have downloaded the latest Call of Duty. I used to play Call of Duty reasonably competitively.
Yeah.
And spent a lot of time doing it, and I've avoided it for the last 3 of them. And I noticed the latest one popped up on Game Pass. It's got its hooks in me again, man.
You know,
It's got
Emily,
hooks.
I think Emily does either Roblox or Minecraft or something, and she live streams on a Tuesday night. I think maybe you guys should get together. Maybe we could start like a gaming section of the DOC NZ studios, and you guys could do some stuff online.
I tried a bit of streaming during COVID. And it's funny, you know, when you're typing something and you're a good typist and your speed's good and your spelling's good, and then someone looks over your shoulder and you completely forget what you're doing and you're all turned into thumbs. That's what it was like for me streaming Call of Duty. I think I called my stream and then Call of Medium because I was not good.
What about Call of Duty, DOODIE? Wouldn't that be better?
Yeah,
because you know
duty.
poo jokes are always funny. A couple of super chats before we keep going, eh? Kiwi Bird, the working group made me 2 minutes late. Oh, hello. My camera just decided to shut off. Because I was on my camera quite a bit today, I'm a bit worried that we might get a little bit of I'm going to sleep. I'm waking up from my camera tonight. We'll see what happens though. Corpo's gonna corp, says Mr. Arvids. Kiwi Bird again. Did Shane survive the rally? Well, actually, those were both pre-rally. I haven't heard anything post-rally, so stay tuned. Peter, any plans to live stream the results next week? I know that guys like Sam Cedar and David Packman and the boys from the Vanguard and that will all be doing it. And the answer is don't know, but my gut tells me is you do what you do best, right? And what we do best is kind of reflecting and looking at results, especially based around New Zealand stories, although tonight's very much American focused. And I think what we'll probably do, and I'll say probably true, it's not 100% sure yet, is just direct you guys to their streams because they're already doing it, you know, and that's their world, right? They know all the people and all them. We'd just be kind of sitting back here, probably looking to people like Sam and like David Packman to actually help form our opinion. So it might just be easier to go straight to them, maybe. But just my first thoughts. Again, me and Chewy don't talk outside of this thing. That's our rule. So we have to do all the chatting during the live show. And finally, sorry, what? Hop. What? Hop. Okay.
Oh, nothing. Just a snort of derision.
Camel says just looked it up. $10 rent has $10 rent has gone down. So for $3.9 billion of, let's be honest, donations to landlords, we get $10 a week. Pathetic. Yeah, and look, it'll be one of those things that we will report it accurately, but we also all know that with people losing a whole bunch of things, you know, like the half free bus rides and, you know, the when you get your medicine from the chemist all disappearing, that kind of stuff, most people are going to be more than $10 a week worse off based on other policies. So it's not going to be a net positive all up. But if the numbers are down, we'll report that the numbers are down. Right. Chewy, my friend, I really wanted to talk to you about this because you are a comedian. Tony Hinchcliffe is a comedian, and I wanted to get a few takes from you. Now, everyone would have seen this up until now. Oh, grumpy face. Did everyone see that Chewy grumpy face? Can you do that again? Hang on, Chewy. Just do that again. Show us that one again. The grumpy face. Like, there you go. Okay. Yeah, we got that. Beautiful. All right. Everyone's seen this, but just for the sake of clarity, let's have a look what was said as a part of his set.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay.
There is also a clip with Tim Walls watching that with AOC, who is Puerto Rican, and that's an interesting watch out there. This is another joke that was made during it, and you can put air quotes around the word joke if you like. That's up to you.
I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country.
So there's a couple of the setups and jokes. Now, Chewy, I want your take on this being a comedian. Interestingly enough, watching Jon Stewart tonight, Jon Stewart be one of the more respected comedians out there, without backing Tony Hinchcliffe altogether, saying, that was brilliant. He was like, they were jokes. They might have landed, but they were jokes. I've got some thoughts as well, but you first, sir. You're the comedian.
Look, objectively, I think they're shit jokes. I mean, okay, you just seen what he's done. Would you say that this guy is a comedian, or would you say he's a racist?
Well, that's the debate going on, isn't it? The debate around it is, where is he from? Now, not to cut you short already, but I think it's probably quite important to get the context of what is happening as well. So this is who Tony Hinchcliffe is. He runs the world's largest live podcast called Kill Tony. Kill Tony, you get a whole bunch of comedians turn up, names get thrown in a hat, you pull out the hat, you pull a name out of the hat, and you get 60 seconds to do your best stuff. And that's what Kill Tony is. He's also the preeminent roasting comedian in the US. Any roast you've ever seen.
Preeminent?
Yeah, absolutely. If you let me finish the thing. Anyone that you've seen, roast that you've seen, he'll have had his hands on it somewhere. In other words, he's written for them, he's performed in them, he's been involved with roasts forever. Oh, okay, maybe I'll step back. Because you've got, I forget his name. What's his name? That dude there. He's probably the preeminent, the funniest roaster.
Yeah, so I've seen a bunch of these roasts, and this guy isn't in my memory bank at all.
Well, let's have a look, shall we? This is a bit of his roasting that's been going on. And just by the way, I'm not doing this to defend the guy or comments, but it's important to have the full context, I think, rather than a couple of 30-second clips. So this is what he's known for. This is his comedy. This is how it rolls.
Tom is afraid of the Giants, which is why Kevin Hart is hosting tonight. All night, he's been using the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under himself.
Now, if you don't know, Aaron Hernandez is an American football player who hung himself, committed suicide. So they're raw and rough and bad taste jokes.
Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting. Tom Brady is a patriot, which is surprising considering he looks like a Confederate fag. Clearly, your ex-wife takes after you. I hear she's out there draining balls right now.
So, we can keep going on, but you get the gist. That's who he is. So now the context for who he is, let's talk about what we saw. Chewy.
Yeah, so like I said, I've watched a bunch of the roast battles and the celebrity roasts that they've had in recent times, and yeah, there's a lot of dark humor, very edgy humor, that sort of thing, and it's like the stuff that he was doing in that roast wasn't clever. It's just hard charging to be offensive more than anything. You know, you look up Jimmy Carr in those roast battles.
I've been thinking that as you were speaking, the exact name in my head was Jimmy Carr.
Yeah. Now Jimmy Carr can be super offensive at times, but his jokes are also more well crafted.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you have to, like, are you going to bring your A game if you're opening for Trump at his little Trump circle jerk rally? No, you just go up there and you play the hits, which is just xenophobia and racism. That you're not going out there for clever wordplay or that sort of thing. It just won't be appreciated.
There was I can't remember who it was, but it's one of these comedians. It might have been someone like Tom Segura or someone like that, talking about it's always uncomfortable when you make an obvious joke, let's say in one of the southern states of America, and you're saying the opposite of what the norm is, and the laughter should be, oh my God, that's so wrong, you said that, I'm uncomfortable laughing. But there's always one person who laughs because they agree with it. It's like he was talking to the crowd who agreed with those sentiments. He wasn't talking to the crowd who are going to go, oh, no, I'm giving you a nervous laugh because we shouldn't say that.
Here's the other difference with a roast, right? Willing participant.
True. Yep, they signed a contract. They signed an unwritten contract to attend.
Everybody's up there, and they know that the gun could be turned on them as well, and nothing is off limits, Like Pete Davidson made jokes about his dad dying in 9/11. You know, it's pretty good. But again, it is, when you're telling a joke, both parties need to be in on the joke for it to work. Part of the reason that I enjoy roast battles so much is you see how close people can get to the line and you see the person's reaction. And usually in all of those roast battles, people are laughing. You know, they're enjoying it. They're involved in it. He just took a pot shot at an entire island for a US protectorate, no less. That they were just garbage people and just played racist tropes for minimal laughter, I would point out as well.
And now,
you know,
of course,
it wasn't played as a joke.
Now, of course, the conversation starts to come. Trump distancing himself, or Trump's team, you never hear Trump do this, Trump's team distancing themselves from the comments. They have a problem there, though. The problem there is they vetted his set, because he was going to call Kamala Harris, a see you next Thursday. And they said no. That means they saw the jokes. They took at least one of them out, said you can't do that one, which means they let that one get through. So whether you think he's racist or whether you think it was just the wrong place for that kind of comedy, one thing is 100% clear. Trump's team were okay with those jokes, because if they're going to take something out that they think is not okay, that means what they leave in is okay. And that's unquestionable, Chewy.
You just reminded me of something that I saw.
Oh, yeah?
This is a now deleted tweet, shit, whatever it's called from X now. Now America is Elon's own super PAC.
Yeah.
So this is from their official account. America really can't afford a C word in the White House right now. Vote today. With the image to match. Now, it's interesting that that's come up twice in the same sort of period. I showed this to a few people, and of course we hear C word, and we know what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the only thing it could mean. It could mean communist.
Right.
Can you think of another C word that it could mean?
I mean, I would only think of one if they said the C word, but yeah, it could mean communist. But it's not what I would jump out.
Are you thinking of the racial slur?
No.
So there's another one.
As in the short version of those little animals that look like pandas, panda garbage. What are they called? Garbage pandas. Those ones.
Yeah. Trash pandas.
Right.
So yeah.
Trash pandas.
This is the level of where Trump supporters are, and Elon Musk, one of the world's richest men, with his own social media platform, that's what he's pouring into the political debate.
Yeah.
Not anything about policies or anything like that. Let's just say C word, and we'll let people fill in what they want it to be.
And just remember, right, when Elon Musk started Twitter, bought it, started X, he was very clear that it was going to be a neutral platform, that both the right and the left should hate him, and both the right and the left should laud him. So I wanted to say one other thing. Who is the person that is happiest today that Tony Hinchcliffe is getting all this heat? The answer is Seth Meyers. And I'll explain why. There are 450,000 Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a swing state. Tony Hinchcliffe's jokes may well have cost Donald Trump the election. It's possibility. Those jokes, especially the one around Puerto Rico, may have cost Trump the election. Now, back in the day, Seth Meyers was hosting the Correspondents' Dinner. And many people think, and I even think that Seth has sort of mea culpa to this a little bit, that the jokes that Seth Meyer made about Donald Trump on this night was the fire that drove Donald Trump to try and become president. You're going to say something first? I was going to say have a listen, but you can go.
No, I know where you're going with this.
Have a listen.
Great.
And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Oh, there's someone that enjoys a roast.
Yeah.
Donald Trump often appears on Fox, which is ironic because a fox often appears on Donald Trump's head. If you're at the Washington Post table with Trump and you can't finish your entree, don't worry, the fox will eat it. And if I can for a moment talk about the birther issue, when did we get so suspicious about where people were born? A USA Today poll last week said 38% of Americans think the president was definitely born in the US. In the same poll, in the very same poll, only 5% more said Donald Trump was definitely born in the US. Has it reached the point where Americans only think someone was born here if they saw it? I know I was born here, and I know my younger brother was born here. But when it comes to my older brother, I can only take him at his word. Gary Busey said recently that Donald Trump would make a great president. Of course, he said the same thing about an old rusty birdcage he found.
Goes on. So there are many people who believe that everyone, I can see the people in the chat, he's steaming, believe that was the moment when Donald Trump, that gave him the fire. So it might end up being that a comedian, Seth Meyer, aided getting Donald Trump into the House, and another comedian was the reason he didn't get back in again. So I think Seth Meyers is probably the happiest comedian in the world today, seeing Tony Hinchcliffe is trending. Chewy.
Talking about the comedian issue, right? I saw someone mention this in the chat that conservatives can't do comedy. I think we've talked about this on the show with a couple of clips as well, is that there aren't really good right-wing comics. Like they're conspicuous in their absence, put it that way.
Yeah.
Even like really edgy comics, like they say Ricky Gervais, or God, what's the guy's name? He's one of my favorites as well. I've just gone absolutely blank. Scottish guy. Chat, help me out. Absolutely roasts people. It'll come to me. Yeah. Well, Bill Burr's a good example. Again, someone that will absolutely savage both sides of the aisle. Absolutely savage. Bill Burr, Frankie Boyle. Thank you, CB. Yeah, Frankie Boyle's one of my favorites. Absolutely right up to the edge, sometimes very, very much past it. But he is very, very left-wing and not shy of hiding it. I mean, you look at the selection of entertainment has-beens and weirdos that have rallied to Trump's side. Like, think that one of the stars of that rally was Hulk Hogan, of all people.
I don't see no Nazis in this place.
If this was 1993, that would have had some real star power, but it's just not there. And I think, they're always complaining about being cancelled, or the media pulling away from them, or it's all a setup. It's just people don't dwell with it. Like I think very much in New Zealand, but I think overall most people just don't want to be dicks.
Yeah.
Like if you could get through life being not a dick to as many people as possible for your entire life, I think that is most people's goal. But when it comes to being a Trump supporter and being all about MAGA and that sort of thing, it goes past what I would call traditional conservatism, which I think the more right, the more conservative you go, the more it is about the you rather than the us, right? And I think the MAGA crowd have made that more about, look, stuff for me is really important, but also what's really important is somebody has to suffer. And that is someone that doesn't look like me. And that's not funny. It's just not funny.
There was a really good image I saw on Twitter. I didn't bookmark it. I'm just having a quick Google search, see if I can find it. Talking about it's more about the me. It's someone on Twitter. If someone's out there, you can tag me into it. I can't see it. It's an image of the word we, with a W at the top, we, and Kamala Harris standing on top. But then the shadow of that spells me, with Donald Trump standing down the bottom. So it's like the we and the me, which is pretty cool. There is one.
I mean, coming out of polling after this rally and that sort of thing. Look, it looks like Kamala is pulling ahead, but it is still close.
I don't know.
You wouldn't want to bet the farm on it.
Well, the people who
my friends in the States I talk to, they're still very, very worried.
Well, yeah, and the people who know this best, and we can talk about the show from Friday night. I asked that to Sam Cedar, and he was like, I don't know. But then again, I also look at the guys from the Vanguard. I saw a tweet from one of them yesterday. They basically said the polling's all wrong. Kamala's going to romp home. And I was like, oh, we'll just see. We'll wait and see. I want to look at one other thing to do with Trump specifically. And it's the idea that people are calling into question his relationship. Is he comparable to Hitler? And we're going to have a look at a conversation with Mehdi Hassan and Piers Morgan and Destiny and some other dude, and Sarah Palin, she's still around, shortly. But one of the points that Mehdi Hassan makes was, this is the big thing. Actually, nobody's calling him the new Hitler other than his running mate did. But no one on the Democratic kind of running ticket is using those words. And the difference is those on the Republican running ticket are using all those words like communist and fascist and those sorts of things. But there's no one on the left-hand side. And they keep coming back to this. You're calling him the new Hitler. Who? What, dudes on Twitter? Sure. And the point that Mehdi Hassan says is if he doesn't want to be compared to someone like Hitler, can he stop saying all those things that Nazis in the past have said? Here's some examples.
The enemy within, man.
Here's an example.
We pledge to you that we will root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country.
And for the audio podcast, the Hitler quote was, "I have the rights to remove millions of an inferior race that breed like vermin." So vermin is the key quote there.
They're poisoning the blood of our country.
And Hitler said the peoples will have to atone for their sins of this worldwide poisoning with their blood.
What they've done.
They're not humans. That is such a specific quote as well.
Yep.
Point that cannot be accidental. That is not something you just bust casually into a speech.
Yeah.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals.
An opponent which consists not of human beings, but of animals. Hitler's speech in Berlin, 1941.
I'll use the word animal because that's what they are. You got to get these people back where they came from. You have no choice. You're going to lose your culture.
Lose your culture. Hitler in Mein Kampf said, and every mingling of Aryan blood with that of a lower people as a result was the end of the cultured people. I feel dirty reading this out. I think we're going to get banned from YouTube just for reading this shit out.
You'll lose your country. Does anybody believe in genes? Do you guys believe in genetics?
Hitler's address in Dusseldorf, 1932, individual vices always recur in peoples as long as their inner nature, their genetic composition does not undergo any essential change.
You're going to lose your country. Does anybody believe in genes? Do you guys believe in genetics?
A murderer, I believe this. It's in their genes. And we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with.
Hitler speech to the Reichstag, 1940, the scum of the nation.
That hate our country. I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
New Year, Hitler proclamation, 1944, the hour of retribution will come.
We pledge.
And that doesn't even include your one, should we? Because I'll also say this, right? I mean, for example, I think it when I see the scum quote. the scum quote, anyone could say that. And if it was one singular thing, you'd go, oh, they can say scum, you can say scum. But there's two things. The audience who is attracted to those language and how many comparisons in the language. It's not just like one little thing that, oh, yeah, maybe it's like there's one and there's another one, the enemy within which you didn't talk, and there's another one and there's another one and there's another one. So it's you can't kind of say it's too implausible right now to be a coincidence, Chewie.
Look, they're the quotes of someone who admires strongmen and dictators and fascists. They're the quotes of someone who has definitely, I guess, had Mein Kampf read to him as a bedtime story, because I'm still not sure that Trump can read himself, but maybe he would have paid someone to read it to him. But yeah, I don't like comparing him to Hitler. I like comparing him to Mussolini, because Mussolini was a great big fat-headed dummy as well. But one thing I am quite comfortable at saying, that he definitely fits in the fascist camp, and that America has way too much confidence that the existing framework of their democracy will be enough of a handbrake on him. I think there has been such an erosion of the Supreme Court, how corrupt the Senate and Congress is, how much the MAGA movement has infiltrated the Republican Party. I don't think there is enough to stop him if he gets enough support. Another thing that I'll bring up is Stephen Miller is someone that has been in the wings of the Trump organization, or the Trump political organization, right from day dot. And that guy is an absolute full strength meaning of the word white supremacist. I don't think that this can be doubted. And like, there's been so many people pointing at Trump, and maybe this is the problem, pointing at him because they see these dog whistles and they know where it's going to go. This guy is like Mustache Man. Yeah. And this is the path that we go down. But the problem was, it was too early for most people.
Right.
Most people aren't like fully engrossed in the rise of Hitler and the steps that need to be put in place for that sort of leader to gain power. And the whole time, as people, calling someone Hitler, is that where we are in the place of political discourse? And people don't have enough time to go, well, look, here are the steps. Here's like, it's a laundry list that he is ticking off to get to that place. And I think, you now have an election where people are worried if he wins, and they're also worried if he loses.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if he wasn't a fascist, and even if he wasn't all of those things, how could you vote for this? I will get kicked off it. How could you vote for that? Like, honestly, just watch with your eyes, people. How could you vote for that? This is not AI. This is nothing like that.
I like to just imagine that he's holding two dicks, one in each hand, while he does that.
I just got sprung. I was about to share something that might have been. I only just saw that it might be. I couldn't fact check it, so I'm not sharing it. But I'll show it to you. But this is not what I nearly got caught with. I saw Ivanka Trump, and I thought it was Ivanka Trump. It's not. There's one called Ivanka News. And then when I saw, if yes, I will follow you back, I went, that's not Ivanka. And then I saw, it's Ivanka Trump. And I say, my dad, do you agree with my dad? Pride flag should be banned from church, yes or no? And I just thought, well, there's the fascist. But then I did a bit of research, because just this minute I noticed that, and he's basically said that embassies can't fly them, but I haven't found anywhere where he says churches can't fly them. So I caught myself out, team. Like, I do like to fact check things, and just in time I got fact checked. So so good on us. So we won't put that out there.
Yeah, look, I if I was in the States, I'd be fucking worried.
Yeah,
it's some scary stuff, and but what takes it out of it is that, like, if he was a more serious dude, right, and not just a cartoon character, if he was more politically savvy, if he wasn't surrounded by quite so many cartoonish goons,
Yeah.
it would be really, really sinister.
Mm-hmm.
But just because he's a buffoon doesn't mean that he's not able to pull this off.
Yeah. Because much like him not becoming a dictator last time because of the group that was around him, if he gets elected this time, it's probably more because of the group that's around him rather than him himself necessarily. In the super chats, thank you for these guys. Bud, the patch law is total disregard and disrespect of the great work the gangs have started and a big impact on their children. The police will lose respect with the public too. Thank you for your super chat. Gold says the Trump campaign vetted these jokes too. BTC reported, Brian Tyler Cohen reported on the one that was vetoed. Oh yeah, maybe that came just before we showed the story. Watch CNN and Mr. King and the magic map, says Brian. All right, thank you, Brian. Rajan says, yeah, man, I have really dark humor. It's kind of hashtag racism.
Yeah, I've seen that play out. Like so many comedians, the people that start out and that sort of thing, and they hold in their esteem comedians that are known to be edgy, and they want to start there. And every time it's someone that's going, yeah, I've got a dark sense of humor, and it's just a whole bunch of anti-gay, anti-trans, racism, that sort of thing. And it's just like, look, you know, the people that you idolize, they've been doing this for decades, man. They've got, in some cases, they've got teams of writers to make sure that it is clever enough to get away with it. And it's not this. It's not this. You had 15 people walk out of an open mic night. You know, read the room.
Kiwi Bird, I love that fascists are their own worst enemy. Mr. Arvids, the cope is strong with this one. And Kiwi Bird again, Trump is 99% Timu Mussolini. All right, we're going to keep rolling because we've actually got a couple of stories to go and we're going to be here for a while. But we have to, of course, I watched probably 80%, watched and listened to 80% of Joe Rogan with the man, with Trump. And can I just tell you my takeaway from it? It was so boring. Like there wasn't some, you know, like I was wondering last week if Trump would say something, you know, no, when I say the enemy from within, I mean, we should actually walk people down the street and shoot them, like waiting for something that people could jump on. There wasn't really anything. Waiting for something that was going to endear him to a whole new range of voters. There wasn't really anything. Honestly, it was boring. And you know it's boring, true, because have you heard many right-wingers going off and using it as evidence for how great he is? No, because there's nothing in it. It was just boring. It sounded like Joe was talking to his grandfather. Joe did a piss poor job. He could have pushed back so many times and he didn't, which is to be expected. But it was a nothing conversation. It wouldn't draw any more voters to him, and it didn't pull any voters away from him. It was a nothing. The one, there was a couple of pieces that were interesting from it. This is the one piece I found that was most interesting from it. Joe Rogan basically said to him, where's your evidence? And he was like, no. When are we going to see this? Even Joe Rogan was like, he didn't say these words, but he was like, dude, this all sounds like shit. Just show us your workings. So I'll play that little bit and then we'll move on.
So I want to talk about 2020 because you said over and over again that you were robbed in 2020.
Yeah, totally.
How do you think you were robbed? Everybody always cuts you off. I'm going to allow.
Well, they not only cut you off. Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time, and I would bring.
No, that's the only thing I've been talking about for the last 4 years. But I've brought no evidence with me, even though I knew it was something we were going to talk about. We'll have to set up another time, and then I'll show it all to you. I don't have anything. I have no way of proving it to you right now, even though this is the biggest podcast in the world, and I knew it would be coming up as a topic of conversation. None of my team thought about it. No one thought, oh yeah, we should bring some proof along and shut this conversation down once and for all.
Well, they not only cut you off. Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time, and I would bring in papers that you would not believe. So many different papers.
Red ones and green ones and one with a gold edge to them.
That election was so crooked. It was the most crooked election.
Okay, but give me some examples of how.
Well, let's start on the top and the easy ones.
Okay.
They were supposed to get legislative approval to do the things they did, and they didn't get it. In many cases, they didn't get it.
What things?
Anything.
Legislative approval.
That was the greatest answer. Joe Rogan did go down one. Like, just what things are you talking about? And Trump, anything. They needed to get approval for anything. Oh, so that they were changing suppliers to get lunch that day? They needed anything at all.
In many cases, they didn't get it.
What things?
Anything. When
Legislative approval,
like
of...
for extensions of the voting, for voting earlier, for this,
Right.
for all different things.
Not true, by the way. Early voting's been around forever and a day.
By law, they had to get legislative approvals. You don't have to go any further than that. If you take a look at Wisconsin, they virtually admitted that the election was rigged,
Not true, obviously.
robbed, and stolen. They wouldn't give access in certain areas to the ballots because the ballots weren't signed. They weren't originals. We could go into this stuff. We could go into the.
We could. But we're not going to. I'm just gonna say the top line thing that every conspiracy theorist says, but we're not going to. We could go into it, Chewy, but we're not going to go into it. Even though if we did go into it, I could clear it up, but we're not going to.
He's real pressed for time on a 3-hour podcast.
Yep.
You know, we just don't have time to go into it. We don't have time to go into the fact that every court that I've tried this in has thrown it out.
But one.